With Lethal Tempo now back in the game, is providing strength to many different ADCs, but really excelling on a few in specific. We've got this and so much more to cover in today's video as we bring you guys 10 of the most OP new setups for 14.19. And did you know mastering your champion will boost your win rate by a massive 9% on average? That's why at SkillCapped we offer Smurf commentaries. Simply select the champion you want to master and get guides from challenger experts teaching you how to play your champion in the exact rank you're stuck in. You're even guaranteed to have all your questions answered by that very same challenger expert. After that, take one of our 5 brand new courses that teach you the secrets to carrying as a top laner, jungler, mid laner, AD carry, and support. It doesn't stop there. We have new Season 14 courses on macro, wave control, trading, setting, and hotkeys, CSing, vision, mechanics, low elo mistakes, the list goes on. The best part, you can try all this out completely risk-free. Since if you don't rank up while actively using SkillCapped, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below right now to get the rank you've always dreamed of. Tanks are looking really powerful to start off patch 14.19, and this one setup in specific is extremely underrated on Volibear. For a while now, the hybrid setup with Rod of Ages and Flicker Blades has been the cookie cutter build for Volley, but this pure tank setup should not be slept on for this patch. The complete 3-item core consists of an Unending Despair Rush into Winter's Approach 2nd and Spirit Visage 3rd. This core synergizes extremely well together because Spirit Visage amplifies heals and shields by 25%. Unending Despair passive provides a heal, while Winter's Approach, once transformed into Fimbule Winter, gives you a shield, so you'll become extremely difficult to take down. With less damage in the game now for 14.19 due to pretty much every ADC item losing damage, playing this tank build becomes even more valuable. The rune page to run alongside this setup will be Grasp with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Revitalize, while Presence of Mind and Haste are for secondaries. A second tank top laner who's incredibly powerful with Unending Despair and who's sporting a very high win rate to start the patch is Tahm Kench. Top lane Tahm is loving 14.19 for a multitude of reasons. First one is that tank items were nerfed a lot less than many of the other items, and especially Heartsteel, as it's only lost health regen. Heartsteel didn't lose any durability or damage at all, so while many other champs have lost damage on their one-item spikes, it indirectly gives Kench even stronger dueling power. Tahm also has a lot of bonus health scaling in his kit, so with games being less snowballing now, it allows him to take advantage of that even more. Now, as for the build, Unending Despair has been looking like the most optimal 3rd item for Kench as of late, but very few players have yet to pick up on its strength. You get the heal from the passive of Unending Despair, and it will proc every 5 seconds when you're in a fight. For someone like Tahm who gets extremely tanky and can just soak in a fight for a very long time, he's going to benefit from this passive really well. You also get damage from the Unending Despair passive, so when combined with the Heartsteel passive proc, you actually have some pretty nice consistent damage threat despite building full tank. As for the rune page, it's going to be Grasp with Shield Bash, Second Wind, and Unflinching, while Triumph and Alacrity are for secondaries. A more offensive Viego build has been picking up traction over the past patch, especially over in Korea, and it consists of running the recently buffed Shield Bow. Instead of running the more popular core of Trinity Force with Sundered Sky, you're opting for a heavier damage setup with a Kraken Rush into Shield Bow Sec. And then the 3rd item that many players are slotting in right now consists of Mortal Reminder. In 14.18, Shield Bow got changed so that its passive shield for melee characters is now stronger in the mid game. This has made Shield Bow a better second purchase on a lot of champs, and Viego is one who can take advantage. The rune page you should be running with this build consists of Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, while Freeboots and Cosmic Insight are for secondaries. Tank junglers are on the rise for 14.19, and one champ who's looking exceptionally strong that we moved up into the S tier is Zac. All the 14.19 changes were perfect for Zac because less damage in the game for a champ who can stick around in fights and deal a bunch of sustained damage is great. Zac also has % health damage in his kit, so the longer games last, the more value he gets from that. As for the setup that has become increasingly more valuable for this patch, it revolves around running Conqueror for the Keystone rune. Aftershock has been by far the more popular keystone for Zac in recent patches, but with the pace of the game slowing down for 14.19, it's given Conqueror more value on him. With less damage, it means that fights are going to be lasting longer, and therefore it gives Zac more time to stack Conqueror and get maximum value out of it. Aftershock is definitely better when it comes down to giving instant impact when you enter a fight, but when it comes down to those longer drawn-out fights, Conqueror is superior. So far in 14.19, more Zac players have been picking up on the strength of Conqueror, as it's seen a spike in play from around 20% in 14.18 to 30% in 14.19. So here's what the complete page is looking like as you grab Conqueror with Triumph, Haste, and Last Stand, while Conditioning and Revitalize are for secondaries. Sunfire Rush is still looking like the optimal way to build Zac, followed by either Spirit Visage or Thornmail second. One item that players continue to heavily undervalue in 14.19 that needs to be bought more often is Storm Surge. Ahri is one champion specific who's really great with Storm Surge right now, but only 10% of Ahri players are actually building the item. It was back in 14.18 where Riot increased the magic pen on Storm Surge from 10 to 15, and they also increased its passive damage for ranged champions, resulting in the item becoming much stronger. Movement speed on the item was lowered to compensate, but for someone like Ahri who has the built-in mobility from her R, losing movement speed in exchange for more damage is a nice trade-off. The 2-item core you're going to want to be playing on Ahri for this patch consists of a Malignance Rush into Storm Surge second. As for the rune page, grab Electrocute with Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, and Ultimate Hunter, followed by Mana Flow and Transcendence for secondaries. There's a new heavy magic pen setup that has gotten stronger for Diana over the past 2 patches, and it revolves around rushing Storm Surge. Diana is one of the few champs who can straight up rush Storm Surge and take full advantage of the 15 magic pen that it provides. The earlier in the game that you grab magic pen, the better, as it's going to have more value against champions with less magic resist. Even though many fighter and ADC items lost damage for this patch, this setup for Diana lost out very minimally. Shadow Flame is the second purchase in the build to provide even more magic pen, and the item only ended up losing 5 AP in 14.19. Storm Surge actually gained base damage on its passive, so in comparison to AD assassins, ADCs, and fighters, champs who can take advantage of Storm Surge are looking very powerful for 14.19. The rune setup to run with this build is Electrocute followed by Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Treasure Hunter, while Shield Bash and Bone Plating are for secondaries. An ADC who looks to be back in a great spot for 14.19, rising back up in priority, is Vayne. You can probably already guess why this is, as the addition of Lethal Tempo has helped Vayne out tremendously. Press the Attack is still looking like a viable keystone on Vayne, but Lethal Tempo is just going to fit in a lot better for when you actually want to be picking Vayne. When paired up with an Enchanter, going for Lethal Tempo and playing for the more drawn-out skirmishes is going to work great. Press the Attack is better suited if you're with a melee support where having a bit of added burst threat can help secure kills off engaged plays. Lethal Tempo is actually even better now on someone like Vayne because of the way the rune scales. If you have yet to read the patch notes, the new Lethal Tempo provides you with bonus damage when you reach max stacks, and this damage is increased by 1% for every 1% of bonus attack speed you have. Since every single item that Vayne likes to purchase has attack speed, she can take full advantage of this new attack speed scaling on Lethal Tempo. So here's the complete rune page as you're grabbing Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, while Conditioning and Overgrowth are for secondaries. Besides Vayne, another ADC who you need to go back to running Lethal Tempo on, who's an incredibly strong carry for 14.19, is Kog'Maw. We moved Kog'Maw up into the OP tier for ADC this patch, and it's looking like that's been the correct decision with how the patch is playing out. Kog loves having Lethal Tempo back, and very much like Vayne, he synergizes better than most champs with the new Lethal Tempo due to all the attack speed that he stacks in his build. The more attack speed you purchase, the more damage that you'll be getting out of the new Lethal Tempo, so Kog's core of Blade of the Ruined King, Rage Blade, and Hurricane works perfect. Lulu being back in meta for support is also incredible for Kog because it's one of the best synergies that you can play for bot lane. With less damage in the game on average and games lasting longer, if you can play Kog'Maw with an Enchanter support and reach a couple items, the mid to late game impact you can have is amazing. So this is what the new rune page is looking like as you're grabbing Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand, while Conditioning and Overgrowth are for secondaries. With the support item changes this patch, one trend that we are noticing emerge from the very start is that Locket value is down while Trailblazer value is up. Locket ended up losing 5 armor and magic resist, so it's become less durable. Trailblazer, on the other hand, actually gained some health, and it's seen its cost reduced as well in exchange for 1% less movement speed. 1% movement speed has a gold value of 54, so just the cost of Trailblazer being lowered by 100 gold has the item in a stronger spot for 14.19. Health going up on Trailblazer is a bonus as well, so with many items just getting flat out nerfed for 14.19, Trailblazer was sneakily buffed and should not be slept on. One support in specific who has been performing very well with Trailblazer to kick off 14.19 has been Rel. However, there are a bunch of other melee supports that you can play it on too, like Leona, Blitz, and Thresh. Rel is looking like the best of the bunch though, and here's the complete core build that you should be looking to try. The keystone rune for Rel is Aftershock with Shield Bash, Bone Plating, and Unflinching, followed by Hex Flash and Cosmic Insight for secondaries. As if Lulu wasn't already strong enough right now, the 14.19 item changes have actually been very beneficial for her. Echoes of Helia, Moonstone, and Shirelias are generally the staple rush items for many enchanters. However, that's not really the case with Lulu. None of those items had their cost reduced for this patch, but one item that Lulu can rush to some great success did, and it's Ardent Sensor. Ardent had its cost lowered by 100 gold for 14.19, and even though a bunch of its stats were nerfed to compensate, quicker access to that Ardent passive is great for Lulu. Ardent Rush is actually outperforming Shirelias on Lulu for 14.19, even though Ardent is not being prioritized quite as much, especially if you're playing with an ADC who's running Lethal Tempo. Rushing Ardent should in theory have even more value now. Remember, the new Lethal Tempo provides bonus damage that scales with bonus attack speed, so when you throw your shield on your ADC and give them that bonus attack speed from Ardent, they should be dealing even more damage with their Lethal Tempo. So here's the core build that you should be running on Lulu, as it's Ardent Rush into Shirelia's second with Dream Maker as the item upgrade. Aerie is the keystone rune with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, followed by Bone Plating and Revitalize for secondaries. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up workout guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top-tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the difference. So that's going to wrap everything up for the 14.19 edition of the new OP build. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.